Hi, I'm Illuminani, and in 3.5 hours I have a D&D game, so I have to prep for that. When we last left the party, they were on the trail of a half-orc named Golug, who, according to his wife, a blind woman named Malia, is not whom he appears to be. So the party has been, they investigated this, they followed Golug, they saw him do a drug deal, so they know he's using again, and they saw him disappear into a bar in a sort of semi-swankier part of town that was very closed off and unfriendly to the paranormals. That is, any creature who is not a elf, halfling, human, or dwarf. That is all of the preliminary things that I really need to know about. That you, really need to know about. First things first, getting into the tavern. So there are several ways they could enter in after hours. They could pick the lock, and that's probably going to be a DC 20, we'll say. They're level 3, but it's a pretty high DC, but they're level 3, and this is a bar that is protected because it's at the hideout for a main gang. So I figure that's a good DC for lock picking. I don't have any rogues here either, so it's cool that they might have to come up with an alternate way in. I need to make a note that the party needs to be stealthy because guards will be patrolling regularly. So now that I know how they're getting into the bar, I need to figure out how they find the entrance to the bar. I also need to figure out where it is. A good place for a secret hideaway is behind the bar itself. There can be little stairs that the bartender, the proprietor of this establishment, can go down. And it will be behind the bar. We'll make it a DC 17, just because I don't want it to be too easy, but I don't want it to be too hard. So it'll be a DC 17 perception check. Ooh, it'll be trapped too. Okay, so if they open it without finding or looking or checking for traps, whoever opens it is going to take 2d6 acid damage. Alright, and then that is the entrance to the dungeon. So now, that's that. That is that. Now we have the dungeon itself. The whole idea for this is that it is one of the gangs. Where's my notebook? No, that's my other notebook. Okay, so I wrote down all of the different gangs that were in there. There's a notebook. Oh, it's an actual drawing notebook, not a writing notebook. Damn it. Alright, so because I use notebooks like squirrels bury nuts, I'm sure I've written down the information of the 4 gangs somewhere. I just have no idea where it is. So I remember there was a Mage's Bane, there was the Zentarim, there was the Dwarven Crime Syndicate, and then there were the other ones, the Robin Hood type ones, whose name I can't remember right now, but that's okay. Anyway, but the important thing is that this is going to be the Mage's Bane. It is their hideout. They're dealing in magical drugs, and they are using a very sophisticated flesh golem with a really sophisticated illusory magic on it to make it appear like it's Golug doing it, but it's not actually Golug doing it. He's going to be kidnapped, I think, because I want this to be a happy story. So I hope your butt isn't on camera for all the world to see, Apollo. That's Apollo. That's my cat. He's my blue-eyed sun god. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yes, it's going to be a happy ending because the other party members want to make money. So they'll make money later, but this is more for like, haha, we're doing good deeds, because it's fun to do. But anyway, back to the dungeon itself. We're going to want a couple of rooms. Monster manual. So I am looking up, what I'm doing right now is I'm looking up a encounter calculator. I want to know how much XP I need to make a fight medium or hard or deadly. So the number of characters what is it, Apollo? The number of characters I have is 7. Toro Rojo, won't be joining us until later, but we're having a new person join the party. Their name is Canary. They're a yellow warforged. Very excited to have them around. They come from a different world. They've been shot here from another world, the world of Eberron. So, very exciting. Let's see. I have my numbers for medium, hard, and deadly fight. So, Flesh Golem by itself is right in between hard and deadly for this party. But it's 7 people in this party, and a lot of them are good heavy hitters. So I generally like to stick around hard and deadly, just because there's so many people there. I don't think a Flesh Golem by itself is enough for this party to really make it a huge challenge. We're gonna have him, and I'll probably throw in some bruisers or somebody else as like the final battle. But when they first come down, it's gonna be a dark cellar, little lighting. Let's see, this is a hideout for the Mage's Bane, so there's lots of magic, so there should be a way to magically put light to light up the chambers if they want to. So then we're gonna do a little meeting room, and it's gonna have like a desk, it's gonna have some chairs, comfortable chairs, it'll have a few scattered papers around that shows the like transactions for drugs and trade of drugs mostly, and it'll have a little scale to weigh things. So after that little drug room, then they're gonna come up upon the lab. Alright, I'm gonna have to come up with some names for some drugs. So, and this is not the fun kind, this is the nasty. Like, we're talking cocaine and heroin and opium, not like mushrooms and weed. Right? The bad kind of drugs, not the good kind. The bad kind. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. So, we'll say that one drug is named, Dreamy. One drug will be called Dreamy, and it will ostensibly open the third eye and make you, like, super relaxed on the upside. On the downside, though, it makes you highly, highly suggestible. If used effectively and over long periods of time, extended use can weaken your resolve and your will such that whenever you take it, you become kind of like a mindless zombie. The other one will be, we'll call it Ratass, I've decided. R-A-T-A-S-S, because names are whatever, you just come up with names. And Ratass, we're gonna say it's an upper. You're always awake. It gives you tons of energy. It's like a low-level haste spell, only it gives you twice as much exhaustion. So it's like itchy and scratchy if you don't get it. It's one of those things where like, I'm moving too slow. I have to move faster. I have to move faster. So those will be in the lab. That's the drug-making equipment in the lab. And in the second room, they're going to find some more magical things. Looks like experimenting with golems is what they're going to find. They're going to find golem-making equipment. So lots of formaldehyde jars, lots of body parts, an operating table, and floating in a vat of green liquid is going to be Golug. If they free Golug, they will learn that he has been kidnapped. He was approached by the Mage's Bane, but he said, no, I won't dare work with you again. I'm clean now. I love my wife. And then they kidnapped him because the Mage's Bane is evil. So if they free Golug, they'll find out that he is actually a good guy. He was approached by the Mage's Bane, but he said that he had turned his life around and he was in love with his wife and he didn't want to do any of that stuff. But they hit him over the head and dragged him down anyway, because once you're a part of Mage's Bane, you never leave. You're in for life. Because these are bad people.
Okay, so if it ended rather abruptly that time, it's because it did end rather abruptly. The camera I was using ran out of battery, and when I continued filming. I continued filming for another hour, but the footage was lost, so that's okay. Honestly, you didn't miss much. You just missed me puttering around trying to figure out the fight that was going to happen in the lab. And that turned out to be a werebore and 4 mephits. And then I came up with some shopkeepers that we didn't even get to in the session. Because, hey, this is the day after. This is the day after the session, and I originally was going to film again anyway and sort of do a tail end of how the session went. So here's how the session went. First and foremost, I'm super bad at math. I was never ever going to have 6 players. I had 5 players. I'm going to add 1 more, therefore I'm going to have 6 players. But the 6th player couldn't really join us because she was super tired and she just didn't have the energy to play a full-length game, but she came in and introduced herself in the beginning and went on her merry way, and she'll join us when we play this campaign next, and it's super great. She came up, she met the party, came up with this entirely on her own, but she met the party, and she came up and she said, "Are you the hand of sore thumbs?" And I thought that was absolutely genius. Great robot voice, and it's gonna go great with our party. But back to the session and how it deviated and what went wrong and what was surprising about it. So the surprising thing was the way they got into the building. First and foremost, Ishi, our Aarakocra, is a flyer, right? So he's flying on the roof, and he was like, "I land on the roof. Is there anything in the roof?" And I was like, "Oh, shit. Yes, there's something on the roof." I just sort of turned the back door that I had planned into the front door. But then I got the idea mid-game. I was like, oh my god, it's a bar, and the cellar has been converted into a lab, so the storage has to go somewhere. So they opened up the cellar, they opened up the attic, and it was the cellar items in store. And it was so much fun to see their faces like, ooh, we suspect there's something behind the bar. But now with this, like, their cellar stuff in the attic, there's totally something behind the bar. And it was really fun to see them, like, get super intrigued and excited about getting into the dungeon that I had made. They made all their stealth checks, which was nice. They never got caught by the guards, so good for them. I was probably a little nice about it, but I didn't really want them to get caught by the guards. I just wanted them to have a good atmosphere. As the story progresses, I'll probably get more and more stringent about the rules and about having them roll for checks and things like that, but since we're not playing this campaign very often, and I'm still very, very new at this, I'm trying not to do everything at once. Each session is sort of like I learn something new each session, and I can't do everything at once. So I'm just doing what I can, and it seems to be working well. This, again, was a lot of fun to run, and I wasn't very stressed, and I had given myself room to improvise during the game itself, and that actually worked out super well. As an example of some improvising, words are hard to say sometimes, that went well, was the DC perception check to get into the underground bar never really happened because Ishi, our Aarakocra, was always sort of piping up and not being stealthy, and the other party was shushing him. So in a fit of like, rah, he turned into a cat. And then he went and he jumped down in the bar first and was sort of nudging along. And I was like, well, he's a cat. He's messing with as a cat, he's playing with the rugs on the ground. And he found it without ever having to do a perception check. Because he role-played his actions in the space. And I thought, I want to reward players when they interact with the mind picture that I have given them. oh, my trap hit. They opened the trap door and it hit them. They didn't check for traps, so I got to deal some damage, and that felt super fun. Like, ooh, a trap hit. And oh my goodness, there needed to be light in the underground thing, and I experimented. I decided to have a little bit of fun, because Griffin McElroy uses magic in new and fun and unexpected ways, and I really like how he uses magic. So I tried to emulate that a little bit, and I made the cellar have obsidian stones embedded in the walls, and then there was a bigger obsidian stone that had a glyph in the wall as well, and they didn't know what it was, and they rolled Arcana, and they discussed a little bit, is it a trap, is it lasers, what should we do, and they like spent 15 minutes on it. It turned out to be a light switch. Oh, it was so much fun. What else did they do? Oh right, the drugs. Apparently, I didn't realize that Ratas spells rat ass. Never gave it a second thought, but as soon as I spelled it out, they were like, wait, rat ass? It's called rat ass? And I was like, oh no. Oh no. So, there we go. And now it's made out of rat ass. That's absolutely a component in it. Oh yeah, and for the vats, Smiles was looking at the vats, and he asked if there was a focus for the vats, something that he could scavenge. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I made it a crystal ball with a little bit of formaldehyde in it, on sort of the as above, so below principle. Kind of like a macrocosmic magic type thing. And I thought that was super clever of me, so I wanted to make a note of it and put that in. Then at the very end, because they fought a flesh golem and a veteran and a spellcaster, and I could have done without the spellcaster, and in fact, like, thinking back on it, I probably could have just done one big fight with the flesh golem and let them prepare for the journeys ahead, because the next adventure is going to take them out of harbor, so I could have let them prepare and hang around the city for a bit. But instead, I did 2 fights, and then we'll pick back up with the preparation to go into the next adventure. So, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I did what I did. It's cool. During that final combat, they did not kill, they captured the veteran. And I was like, oh god, now this person, like, he was just a veteran, just a mook, hadn't come up with a story for him. So I came up with a story on the fly really quickly about, I made him addicted to Ratas. I don't think I gave him a name. If I did give him a name, I went ahead and forgot it already, because they killed him eventually. So they broke his neck. They'd gotten all the information they needed out of him, which wasn't much. But I decided to go ahead and leak who the Mage's Bane were, like the big bad of the Mage's Bane. Because it is a beholder, and they won't be ready to fight a beholder for at least a few levels. So I felt okay, sort of, they got a glimpse. The veteran caught a glimpse of a bunch of people in a circle, and in the middle of that circle was the beholder. But when he walked into the room and they noticed him, everything vanished, and it was just the barkeep of the lab. So I put that as a little, like, carrot in front of them, and it worked really well, because apparently Ishi, our Aarakocra druid, despises beholders. So I was like, great, well, I guess I'll make that a thing then. Yeah, and then the only other, the last thing I want to mention before this video closes out, and I say see you all next time, is a wonderful line by Toro Rojo. The party was having a philosophical discussion about the ethics of killing the veteran, and wondering whether or not it was a good or a bad thing, and Kava was bringing up war. And then Toro Rojo said, this isn't war, this is harbor. And, I mean, first of all, class. Very nice. Very good turn of phrase. And secondly, God, that was gratifying as a DM. Because he got it. The good man sticks out in Harbor. Because nobody's a good person in Harbor, basically. And he gets it. And that was super gratifying for me. I'm going to go ahead and put together a Christmas adventure for the Habodian Trawlers. And I think I'm going to keep this format of prepping on camera and then debriefing on camera. Because that's just super fun. So, cool. Thank you for watching. And if you want to subscribe, if you want to like, if you want to share, I am actually super proud of this one. So, take it away, Internet. Okay, bye!